G'day guys, Pete here for Bioathletic Daily, helping you recover, prevent, perform. Now today we're talking about hip injuries, specifically hip injuries in runners. Surprisingly common. Hip injuries, we used to think hip impingements was something that happened just as a random injury here and there, but we now know it's part of the normal wear and tear of a hip as the hip goes through the aging process. Hips can get into this problem from anywhere from early 20s, but typically from about the age of 30 onwards, we can run into trouble. The biggest issue we've got with hip impingements and labral tears to a lesser extent is they can present as tightness in the front of the hip or around the side or into the buttock. The hip itself can almost put pain in different areas at different times. Most people's response to tightness or pain in those areas is to stretch or to do the old foam roller. It presents bigger issues. Now, if you're doing a hip flexor stretch and you don't feel the stretch in the front of the hip, don't do it. It's not actually helping you stretch muscles, it's loading the joint up, and that's not actually helping your problem. If you feel there's pain on the outside of the hip and the foam roller, everyone describes it as a good pain, but if it's not actually resolving, if it's not actually releasing your pain, what it could be doing is actually pushing the hip into a movement called adduction and causing more compression through your hip. Hamstring stretches pretty much fall into the same boat. If your hamstring's tightening, it could actually be a referred symptom, and therefore hamstring stretches will only cause more compression around the hip itself. Before you go and use one of these stretching or foam roller type techniques, evaluate where your pain's up to, try a week of it and see if it actually makes a difference. If it doesn't, don't persevere. It's probably going to make things worse. Get some advice, figure out the best way forward, and you'll know which one's appropriate for you. If the problem persists, if it's one-sided particularly, and it's getting worse, you need to get it checked out. Otherwise, keep running.